Welcome to State of Decay 2 Lethal Difficulty in 2025. We're starting a fresh community with no minimap and curveballs set to harder than Elon Musk reading Mein Kampf. So make sure to like the video and subscribe as we make a start on our epic adventure in Drucker County, the map I know the least. Let's meet the team. There is Stonington, an action movie extra who loves to fiddle with the rod between his legs. There's Melia, a youth counsellor who just keeps going, with room to learn and grow. And last but not least, Abby, who loves to read, is extremely loyal, and knows exactly how to trim a good bush. Together, they all have one thing in common. They're warlords, hell-bent on using anyone and anything to get exactly what they want. The Draigthi. It's Welsh for black dragons, an evil bunch of menacing bastards that have one goal: conquering the apocalypse while lining their own pockets and curb-stomping anyone who gets in their way. But first, we gotta make a base capable of supporting any and all of our needs. We collect building materials from nearby. I give an emotional reading from a torn journal page.
It's been 7 months since the camp got overrun, but it's easy to lose track of the days. I've been on my own for so damn long. Thankfully, I'm not hearing voices yet. I'm saving one last bullet for when that starts. This world is bad enough when you're sane. I don't want to be one of those crazy ones. Please, God, don't let that happen.
Whoa, do you feel that? Shivers. Then we make a massive step towards passive recovery by starting the construction of an infirmary. We'll need more materials to upgrade it to level 2. Once we have, our community will be able to heal passively when not in use. Next on my list is to collect some fermented dinosaur gunk so I can get the starter car up and running. I'm also fortunate enough that the car spawned with a toolkit in the back so we can actually drive it without the risk of sudden combustion and not having to worry about being tossed off by a freak. Tossed out. Two very different meanings. After dropping the supplies the car was already packing back at base, I start thinning out the local crackhead population with my arse. I can then collect more building supplies from the local gas station. You might be thinking, why the bloody hell are you getting building supplies from a petrol station? Well, petrol stations these days sell anything and everything, ranging from porn to diarrhea. Next on my to-do list is to get high as fuck, so I can survey the local area as to see where and what we can scavenge next. I then turn the local gun shop into an outpost for that daily ammo resource. I then managed to scavenge some useful supplies such as shotgun and shells, even more shells, and you wouldn't believe it, a bloody crossbow. How pathetic. Who the bloody hell would use a crossbow? Cowards, that's who. I then collect some meds from the Tartan Mart next door, food from the fruit stand across the road, and even more meds from the medical centre adjacent. But before I can drop them off, I once again have to do my part to cull the local crackhead population with my big bunda. With the supplies dropped off, we're in a pretty good position going forward. I only wish this peace would have lasted.
Stop it! I'm trying to climb, you fucking idiot!
I continue to scavenge the houses nearby, and with the exception of a bite from a regular Zed, it goes by without incident. Then as the afternoon draws to a close, it's time to check out what the locals need. The fireside campers need some plague samples to manufacture some cure, and would be willing to trade me some fuel supplies if I can get my hands on some. Fuel being one of the supplies I go through the most due to an excessive amount of Molotov crafting, I agree, knowing the best way to collect some will be by taking down a plague cart. First I stop by a water pump station to try and get my hands on a heavy weapon. At the moment all I've got is a baseball bat and a rifle, and heavy weapons will be doing the most damage, so ideally I want to get my hands on one. Unfortunately all I get is building materials, circuitry scraps and some kind of scythe looking thing, which is going to be even more useless than my baseball bat. Luckily I can get my hands on a big old shovel in a shed across the road, but with all that loot weighing me down I figure it's best to drop some stuff off before we begin our assault, and that's when it happens. Our first negative curveball. Fueling the plague. Plague carts are draining fuel from a nearby gas depot, and in turn that's causing the undead to catch on fire when attacked and explode when killed. Sadly I can't use this to take down the plague carts as they've all got an increased resistance to fire and explosives. To make things worse, it's only taken up a third of the map, including my base. Seriously brutal for our first curveball. If you're a beginner, you might want to turn curveballs off entirely while you're still learning the game, as the rest of this video will demonstrate shit is about to get mental. I decide to follow the game's direction by heading towards the plague cart it suggests. That at least gets me out to the fuel in the plague zone so I won't have to be dodging exploding Zeds. As fatigue is slowly starting to creep into Stonington, I want to get this over quickly, so I pop an energy drink to keep my stamina refilling and head to the main road where I drop a firework I found earlier. I hope that will keep the few undead in the area distracted while I smack that strange sack of meat. I creep inside and luckily there's nothing around so I can start my assault, which obviously awakens the thing, but I'm not concerned as it won't be alive for much longer. I complete the first of 3 3 phases just as the undead catch up to me, then I drop my only soda can bomb to do some additional damage. But now my energy drink is expired and Stonington needs a lie down. Foolishly, I decide to take on the undead face first, and surprisingly it works out, allowing me to take down the second phase while also dropping a box mine. But a mixture of the heart's gas defense and my own incompetence means I'm not only partially infected, but also my stamina bar is no longer existing. Right now a sensible man will retreat to lick his wounds, but I'm neither sensible nor a man. Wait, hang on. No, I'm definitely one of those things. With a molly clearing the room, a few more swings allows me to finish the heart for good. 1 down, just 29 more or so to go. Surprisingly, I'm also able to loot the heart without a problem. Then it's finally time to head back to base, in the dark, where I have to avoid any purple-eyed Zeds or my car bursts into flames.
Shit in hell. Yeah, that's all let off. I've lost a couple of doors there.
I drop off the samples, getting some fuel in return, before using our newfound friendship to get a better deal on purchasing some building materials. With that, I can finally get home, unload, and start the upgrade of our infirmary to level 2. But our second negative curveball is already making an appearance. Ransacking bastards! A group of hostiles are now in town and are stealing all of our medical and fuel supplies. But as we aren't getting a daily income of either of them, for now we'll let them be while we build up our defences. It's a shame they didn't set up base in the fuel in the plague zone, otherwise we'd have had a simpler way to deal with them. It's time for Melia to take charge as Stonington is shattered. With the samples he collected, I'm finally able to craft a cure in the infirmary, which means our loadout is actually starting to look pretty respectable. Still, I fear it's not enough to take on the fuel in the plague heart. So I decide to check out a mysterious broadcast that I know is from Cleo. All going to plan, they'll send a supply drop with some high-powered loot that I'll be able to use. The message just so happens to be coming from a water tower on the edge of the fuel in the plague zone, so I'm gonna have to be careful. Although the allure of nearby building materials is too much for me to resist, sadly with a couple of pursuers in tow I'm gonna struggle to do much looting. Luckily, smacking the fucker in the face will set him on fire and start a countdown until he explodes. As explosions tend to be quite loud, I climb the water tower to hopefully let things die down slightly, while also surveying the immediate area. Cleo has also made a drop a small distance away, although it's much further into the feud in the plague territory than I'd have liked. Knowing Zeds are in my way, I try to snipe them with a 22 caliber pistol from the water tower and actually manage to hit a target, causing more explosions. Hopefully that fireball will have cleared the way for me to return to my car. Nope. Apparently not. And that causes things to slightly escalate. And as I still want to get my hands on some building materials before I leave, I try looting, but then this happens.
Oh no! Oh, a heavy hitter! Melia!
Yeah, not a great look. But in my defense, I didn't think Melia had the arms of the Incredible Hulk. She caved in a skull with a single shovel blow. That in turn caused a chain reaction of explosions that would give the Japanese some serious PTSD. And to make things worse, some vicious rumours have been started about our community, meaning if we want to trade with other enclaves, it's gonna cost us a shit ton. Back at base, Abby takes charge as Stonington is still catching up on his beauty rest. But as Melia was rocking all of our good gear, I'm gonna have to do something diabolical to get it all back.
We're taking the crossbow. Don't know how desperate I've got to be to use a crossbow, chat. A crossbow?
I hope you'll find it in your hearts to forgive my desperation. I don't even have enough samples to craft another cure. So Abby scrapes together some energy drinks and painkillers to make her way on foot to Melia's final resting place. Just a 600-meter trek through fuel in the plague territory. The journey starts off sensible with a light jog to save our limited stamina, although pretty soon I've got to make a run for it to avoid the undead. Luckily, they aren't plague zombies that explode if you cave their heads in. I managed to lose them, but now my stamina is empty, and a plague head has caught my scent. I can't kill it without attracting more. Ah, fuck, another has joined the chase. What do I do? It's time to finally put that crossbow to good use. That should burn up any of the pursuers chasing me, and with an energy drink refilling my stamina, I can easily escape and let the fireball burn up any other pursuers. Abby can get back to the site of her friend's demise, and thankfully nothing could have survived that flame. Surprisingly, I'm able to search what's left of her remains.
She's just a pair of legs!
Sadly, however, I'm unable to bring everything back as my pockets are simply not deep enough. Instead, I focus on the most important things: shotgun, cure, and heavy weapon. And as I've got room for a rucksack, I complete her quest and collect a sack of building materials before squeezing as much as I can into the car and heading off back home. I need a bloody good rest from Zeds that explode if you sneeze too close to them, so I decide to take Abby to visit a network trader outside of the explosion zone. Luckily, we've gathered some pretty valuable items while scavenging so far, although as base is inside the Fueling the Plague territory, we still need to avoid the explodey boys to make it there safely. Something which is especially difficult when it comes to crossing bridges.
Alright, straight through! Well, that could have gone better.
I need to cross that bridge to make it to safety, but I can't cross at the moment as there's two bloaters. I can't keep still as there's a feral, and we're completely surrounded by plague zeds that will explode if you even hurt their feelings.
Okay, Crackhead doesn't want to be dealt with, apparently.
When I try for a second time, the little fucker phases through my car, which then means he can get easy access to my bonnet, so I've got to act like my missus in a car park to eliminate him. I can then lead the undead away from the bridge to allow me an easy crossing, but not quite.
Oh no! You son of a bitch!
With the car slightly engulfed in flame, although not enough to cause an explosion, I can cross the bridge, avoiding the bloaters. I can then get to Alexis Carter, simple enough, although I'd forgotten about the vicious rumours curveball, which means I'm the one getting fleeced for all of my valuables. With that disappointment, I leave empty-handed, with half the influence gained as I should have. And to make things worse, the car is still in piss-poor condition. I head to my ammo outpost to collect some more supplies, before deciding I've had enough of the Fueling the Plague. It's time to deal with that bloody plague cart. With the sun rising, I should have a much easier time at least, although I think something supernatural might have occurred en route.
Oh my god, what's the green glow? I think we just got invaded by the aliens.
If I'm about to get probed by ET, I'm not going to be happy. Before taking on the heart, I check out the Cleo drop Melia failed to collect earlier, and I'm glad I did, as we collect some cracking loot in the process. With the heaviest items safely stored in the trunk, I move my battered shitbox into position and head on foot to talk to the Enclave that can tell me which heart is causing the problem.
Let's go speak to this guy, talk to Dallas. He might be able to help us. Hopefully he can.
Unfortunately, Dallas is in the process of setting off a chain reaction. So when I arrive, although there are no Zeds left in the area, Dallas is really struggling with PTSD, and is simply refusing to talk to me. Either that or the fucker can't hear me through all the ear ringing. So I'm forced to make an educated guess to decide which heart is causing the issue. That one. However, Abby's gonna have to tackle this a little differently if she wants to make it out without a freak exploding in her face. I'm sure the ladies can relate. This is where I start to figure out by using the crossbow I can remain completely undetected, and the exploding Zeds doesn't spawn any more to the area.
Just so you know, I have never done this level of stealth in my life. Ever.
It's kind of typical that my most stealthy moment just so happens to conclude with Zeds exploding. It's what I do. Sadly, with all the Zeds cleared, I'm down to my final crossbow bolt, but that's not going to stop me from completing the first phase of the plague cart. In the frantic escape, I use my final crossbow bolt. So to escape the explodey boys, I've got to climb the petrol station across the road and drop down to the other side, not even rolling an ankle in the process. I decide to revisit Dallas to see how he's doing, but the PTSD hasn't good.
Oh, Dallas, you lazy prick, it was barely a wound. We should have seen Melia earlier. Poor girl.
So it's time to get back to the plague cart. One phase down, 2 to go. But without any more bolts, I'm forced back to my car to reload and decide to settle for the clear weapon we just collected, which is great timing as we then have to eliminate the feral. Gratefully, those gunshots don't spawn in any other threats, so I take that as a sign from Ares himself to focus on the next phase of the heart. I complete the next phase just as a horde catches us, but a simple tap with a shovel can make sure they won't be following us for long. After retreating to the relative safety of a destroyed bus, I find out the hard way why you're never truly safe with this curveball active. Luckily, I'm packing more painkillers than Harold Shipman in a nursing home.
It was part of my plan, but I didn't expect it to... I meant to set him on fire, not kill him.
By sneaking through the petrol station, I lose any pursuers, but there's still Zeds floating around the plague cart. Well, with them dealt with, I can now focus on the sack of meat. Although with only one phase left, I don't want to waste a stimulant, so it's not long before my stamina tanks. While I wait for it to recover, I shoot the leg off a Zed, leaving it harmless, or legless in this case. Then a few more swings ends the heart for good, putting an end to the Fueling the Plague curveball. So it's just Ransackers and vicious rumours to worry about currently. With no more hearts in the area, I'm able to claim the petrol station opposite as an outpost, and spend the next few in-game hours looting the entire area. With that completed, I I realise I have enough building materials to start the construction of a workshop, although the car is still very much battered, and even though I don't need to avoid the Mobile Z explosive unit, I'm still only one fender bender away from becoming the next high-ranking Russian general. Back at base, I unload the rucksacks we've gathered and take control of Stonington, who firstly deals with a siege site that's starting to form, as I haven't exactly been careful keeping placards asleep.
Oh, look at that run. What the fuck is that run about?
With that successful, we nominate him as leader. He then arms up, ready to take down the Ransackers. Although en route, I realise there's a red talon trader sort of on the way, so decide to see what he's got for sale. Unfortunately, when I get there, he's only accepting prestige as payment, and isn't even interested in buying any of my rare shite. I'm guessing this is caused by one of the Enclave mods I've got installed, but I'm not sure which one. Thankfully, there's a second trader just down the road, but things aren't going to be that simple. Smokestorm, rendering our visibility to the end of our decks, which isn't very far. Shit. To make things worse, our stamina will drain faster and bloaters will be more deadly. And as it's late afternoon, it's gonna be dark soon, making our visibility even worse. The best bet to survive this is to hunker down and wait it out, which should be much easier with a trader watching my back. I let him deal with the crackhead, then sell him the expensive shit I brought with me. But now I want to make a purchase of my own, starting with a heavy vehicle upgrade kit. There's a car fairly close to base that's compatible, I just need a fuel can to get it back to base. The great thing about these vehicle kits is they'll fully fix the vehicle, fill up the tank, and often stick some useful items in the trunk. I then turned my attention to weaponry, buying a Raiders AK-47 and a Raiders AR-15. Two very powerful guns with massive mags that will be very useful for dealing with those Ransackers. But first I'm gonna have to wait out the smokestorm. I find a fuel resource in the petrol station, then climb the cell tower behind it to survey the area. And there just so happens to be a plague cart right next door. Well, it would be rude not to take it out, especially with it already being awake. But as the only melee weapon I brought with me was a sword, I've got to make another purchase from the trader. It's only a blunt weapon, but it'll do a much better job than the sword. Then as nighttime truly sets in, I can see precisely fuck all. There could be any manner of things in the darkness just waiting to turn me into a happy meal. Luckily, I got a cheeky plan. I'd originally brought a boombox to draw Zeds to the Ransackers, but this time I've placed it right next to the trader, which should help draw the Zeds to him, where he can deal with them without costing me any ammo. That works out pretty well, as I managed to complete the first phase uninterrupted before dropping a molly as I escape. But now the Horde's Anna Feral have found their way to me, so I figure it's time to lead them back towards the trader for some assistance. Although it's the shotgun that comes in clutch when dealing with the crackhead. The second phase goes down easily enough, and seeing as we can't exactly see what's happening, let's skip to the part where we deliver the final blow. Ignore my infection meter. With the area secure, the two infestations will slowly start to die out, and I can abandon my previous outpost and set Snout's feed and farm supply as a replacement to allow me to drop off the placard supplies as well as the goods we purchased earlier. This means I can fill the car's boot with just rucksacks. I was also lucky enough to find a toolkit outside the farm shop, which should make our journey back to base much less stressful. And with an outpost being so close to a trader, that allows me to gain back a lot of the influence I spent on heavy grade weaponry by selling him things I'll never use. Smokestorm finally comes to an end and we can make our way home much safer. But as we do, our next negative curveball takes center stage. Out for blood. They deal more damage, they take more damage, and they have the pace of a marathon runner. Overall, a terrible curveball, which is going to make Abby's next mission all the more troublesome. She's tasked with collecting a second vehicle, something we can use that heavy vehicle kit on. We find a smoke grenade in the boot, refuel, and manage to make it back with no issues, before immediately using the kit to create the smash wagon. What an absolute beast of a vehicle. To top it off, in the spacious boot we get some extra fuel and pipe bombs, something I hope will come in handy on our next quest, which will be to finally deal with the Ransackers, so we can start earning daily fuel and medical supplies. I use the workshop to craft some firecrackers that arm up like an American high schooler. Because of the smoke grenades, vaping is a very serious problem. We forge into new territory with our new smash wagon, and luckily the silly bastards are all hiding out in a little tiny shed with only one entrance. So I immediately block that entrance and toss a firecracker under the shutter. But sadly they figure a way out, and as there's now 8 of them, and each being being more bullet spongy than the previous, I quickly realise I haven't got the right kit to be tackling hostiles. Especially when this happens.
Oh shit, yep, see, that's bad.
Luckily Abby can shake off bullets like it's nothing. We do actually manage to take down a single member, but with my ammo supplies nearly non-existent, I need to get out before we get more holes filled than Bonnie Blue. After giving him a slip through the warehouse, I can get back to my car and escape, and I certainly don't get distracted by livestream chat.
Was you in the ambulance? Oh! Right, I don't know how. I swear I hit a bloater there.
Well, not quite. Luckily, we only lose a door, and it's a good thing that is impossible to come back to bite us in the arse, right? As we're in the area, it only makes sense to take on the play cart that's out for blood, so after parking up safely outside, it's time to get to work. And even though the first phase goes by quick enough, the second not so much.
The second phase is always really quick. Ain't that right, chat? Oh, no. You stupid twat!
2 of our 3 originals are now amongst the undead, leaving Stonington completely alone and desperate in a cruel world that only wants to consume flesh. With his 2 friends rotting on opposite sides of the map, Stonington is forced to make a decision. Spending 5,500 prestige points to recruit the overpowered but vicious Red Talon operator and soldier. Would they take over? Would the Droid Zeeb even be a thing anymore if we welcome these militia for hired pricks? Of course it would. Please welcome Zach Miller and Torres to the team. It's Torres who's up first to bat, with her mission being to finish off what Abby started, as well as collecting the vehicle. Now allow me to let you in on a little secret. My first heartbreak was from a Torres, so let's hope this one doesn't end with a £50 million transfer to my rivals before inevitably flopping. Before I left, I made sure to start the upgrade of our command centre so we can get an additional outpost. So once Torres finishes off the Out for Blood, she'll be able to set an outpost, allowing for an easy drop off of resources while we scavenge nearby. Thankfully she makes it to Santa Maya with no problems, and pretty quickly pays a bloater with a firebomb to eliminate the reanimated corpse of our former friend, only slightly singeing an eyebrow in the process. She quickly completes the second phase of the heart, takes down a crackhead before finishing the heart with a firebomb. Sadly there's another heart in the area, so I'm not able to complete my outpost strat as intended, so we adjust our sails to focus on dealing with the Ransackers. And with Torres being a machine that was built for war, it's pretty simple for her to clean up the mess Abby left behind.
See everyone? We just needed to think smart.
Oh yes, nothing says think smart like eliminating 7 strangers who you've never even had an interaction with. Good job, Torres. Good job. And this being the apocalypse with food soon to be scarce, I think it's only right to carve up these dead pricks with the possibility of turning them into a food resource if they are needed. Yummy. I make sure to loot as many of the bullet-riddled ransackers as my trunk and pockets will allow, even the ones that aren't fit for butchering. Hostiles can actually be a pretty good way of gathering resources, providing you can take them out without using too much, of course. With every possible storage slot filled with some sort of weaponry or sacks of meat, we crack on with a plan to take out the remaining play cart that is preventing us from creating an outpost. Usually this would be foolish as I'm too heavy to fight, but I'm packing some smoke grenades I collected from the corpses. That means I'm perfectly invisible within the smoke's cloud, and surely that means the heart goes down without an issue.
Oh no. Oh god. Okay, yeah, you know what? We might need to leave right now. Don't think I'm quite ready to lose another character.
A feral has been attracted by all the commotion, but I'm able to take it down without removing what little health we have left. Now with the area clear enough, I should retreat, leave to fight another day, but I still have a smoke bomb. And the stimulant is still active. Unbelievably, with like 3 HP left, we managed to take down the final phase, ending the play cart for good.
There we go. We don't want anything.
Good to reclaim some territory like this.
Let's go. No! Oh my... What?! Torres! Oh my god! Torres did flop! I mean, I can honestly say I've never seen a person die like that before.
Completely unnecessary. Let's review the game tape. Firstly, if I'd been paying attention here, I wouldn't have lost the door. I could have retreated when our storage was stuffed tighter than a sheep's arsehole on St. David's Day. And finally, I would have survived if I'd just closed the door. R.I.P. Torres, I can't believe it's the second time I've been let down by your namesake. To rub salt in the wounds, we get a triple slap of negative curveballs, radio silence so we won't be able to use the radio for help, then we have strange mutations which is yet to reveal its effect, as well as under the weather, which makes meds less useful and will require us to deposit 3 medical sacks into our storage to remove its effects. But for now, for the second time today, we have to run across country to once again collect our car and loot a friend's corpse. Maybe it's the car that's cursed. Sag Miller makes it to Santa Maya without any issues and turns the corner pharmacy into an outpost to be protected for the next hour and a half by incendiary landmines. While the explosions eliminate all the Zeds in the area, I collect our first medical sack before leading our former friend into the mines for a Viking funeral. May you rest in Valhalla, Torres. We collect the vehicle and begin the long, arduous task of looting the area while the mines are active, even taking an emotional moment to read a frayed sheet of notepaper.
Emily, age 10. When I grow up, I want to be a police officer like my dad. He carries a gun, but it's only to protect people from bad guys. I asked my dad if I could learn to shoot a gun, but he says it's more important to be able to talk to people, especially when they're angry or sad. I don't know if there are classes that teach that, but they should be. I think maybe we should learn that instead of division. So that is what I want to be when I grow up, and that makes 100 words. God damn it, Emily. Age 10. Division is important. How else you gonna know how to split the Weatherspoons bill with your mates?
We enjoy some fireworks, loot both of the dead play carts, collecting a second medical supply in the process, while also finding the third and final sack needed in the fire department. Sadly, after the command center upgrade, we don't have enough building materials to upgrade the outpost, so in order to deliver the meds, we've got to track back across Drucker to deliver them. But with that done, we can at least tick off one of the 3 negative curveballs. And as she took so long looting, we gotta swap to Stonington as Sag Miller is relying on coffee to stay awake. Stonington's goal is simple: secure the area surrounding the faulty radio tower so we can radio Red Talon and demand a refund as the goods they supplied wasn't fit for bloody purpose. RIP Queen, we still miss you every day. The cell tower is located near Lake Brimley Park, but unfortunately has a screamer and a feral waiting for me. While I am able to avoid the feral and take out the screamer, I decide to climb the tower to see how many plague guards I'm gonna have to deal with to sort out this curveball. While there's 3 in the area, thankfully only 2 are threatening the cell tower. Back on the ground, we've got to deal with the crackhead, but I'd rather not waste the ammo and draw even more of them to my location, so instead I decide to stun it with the Tartar Mart's door, and then we can easily execute the little shit from there, which apparently awakes a placard.
And I'm about to go do that myself. I'm about to kill this motherfucking placard in more ways than one.
Although I wasn't expecting the placard that had literally just awoken to immediately be sending out infested hordes. Talking about seizing the day, when I wake up I'm literally useless for the first 2 hours, but this placard is like, nope, there are living beings out there that need to join our ranks. Let's send out a platoon of bloaters as well as a crack-headed general. Well, the quiet approach is well and truly out of the window. Let's just smash this piece of shit. The Black Heart. Just as we are on the cusp of day 4. I'm pretty sure this is literally the earliest this curveball can spawn, but even that's taking the piss a bit. After completing a phase, I take some frag damage as I retreat, then run to the safety of a horse box to have a look at this Black Heart. It's in the northwest corner of the map, but its influence will slowly grow larger and larger. The Zeds surrounding it are strong as fuck, immune to fire, move fast, and are extremely infectious. To make things worse, it'll also drain the vehicle fuel at an alarming rate. But right now, we need to focus on getting the cell tower sorted so we can recruit more Red Talon members to give us a fighting chance. Gratefully, it's not much longer before we can deal the killer blow, although our health isn't exactly looking in great shape. But we can't retreat to swap out as Sag Miller hasn't had enough time to recover a fatigue. Although risky, the best play is to continue the plan and get the next heart dead and set up an outpost in this part of town.
The Scarlet Survivors. They seem very keen on me helping them. I'm just saying. It's like the 3rd time they've radioed asking for my assistance. I'll have to help them sooner or later. Shit. Oh god. No. No. No.
Stonington is dead. Our final OG member of the Thraig V. Is the Order dead on arrival? Sag Miller is our final member standing. Can she pull things back and form a community of badass outlaws? Or will she succumb to the same fate as her friends? Oh shit, her fatigue is actually pretty fine. Oops. That's my bad, Stonington. There is one thing that is certain. We will do everything in our power to keep the dream alive. To build a community that all will learn to fear. We shall succeed or die horribly trying. First, we need to focus on an extra capable body so Sag Miller can swap out to. Fortunately, we have a mysterious visitor to the homestead. This is Owens, and her community has been working on an experimental substance that will make zombies ignore you. She gifts me some, then says she can give me even more if we find and take down a juggernaut. I agree, a scent block will be very useful when it comes to dealing with that black heart. But for now, she's gonna act as my backup while we clear the radio silence so we can once again contact Red Talon. Although that might be easier said than done, as the car immediately loses half a tank of fuel in about 6 seconds. So the black heart's influence has now spread so much it's taken over our base, meaning we just wasted half a tank of fuel to get 25 meters. And I also forgot about the strange mutations curveball where zombies will explode into gunk as they die. I figured it would be for the best to get my car out of this situation by going as the crow flies, to get out of the black heart's territory as quickly as possible. So after grabbing a couple of fuel cans from my supply locker, I top up the car and give it a go. And we didn't even get close.
Oh my god, look how fast that's at. Look how fast that is. Look, did you see that? That is actually insane.
Thankfully, one more can is enough to get us out of the area, although I'm pretty sure we were massively assisted with gravity.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my Christ.
We still needed a third can to even get the car up and running. Thankfully though, that fuel can was more than enough to get us to the site of Stonington's final resting place, even if his belongings are no longer here. With Owens watching our back from the swarms of the undead, it's not long before we have the heart dealt with, and I can repay the favour by saving her life. After a quick check, it seems like the black heart has hit its maximum radius, so I create a safe space by claiming the gas station as an outpost. We can then secure the cell tower, ending radio silence. Then finally it's time to complete Owens' quest for that additional scent block, so I set landmines around the outpost before shooting at a juggernaut nearby to lead him towards them. It's important that I actually hit him at least once so the kill counted as mine and we could progress the mission. It might seem cheap, but when you're down to your final man, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. We get an extra 4 scent block, which is gonna be massively helpful in taking down that black heart later, and then we can call in an additional Red Talon, who just so happens to spawn in the black heart zone. What a knobhead. This time I take the smash wagon Stonington had left behind, but stop on the edge of the black heart's territory to make the rest of the journey on foot. Searching this abandoned camp en route, thankfully finding some shots of espresso. Unfortunately, when I meet up with Fan, there was a feral there waiting for me, and the unsuppressed shots I used to take it out slightly cause mass hysteria. You see, as we have overlapping curveballs active in this area, some of the Zeds are faster and stronger from the black heart, some are from strange mutations, which means some are melee resistant and immune to fire, but those that aren't drop lows, which then continue to spawn more and more to the area. Although this is a great way to farm black heart samples so we can find out its weakness, it does lead to some touchy moments though.
Will you stop touching me? I didn't give you permission.
Eventually I do find another small window to chat to him and tell him to head over to our base, although I can't call in anymore as my prestige has hit record lows. I guess I'm gonna have to grind daybreak if I want to recruit anymore, or perhaps not. Even more hostiles to deal with. Ignoring the negative effects of less crafting and luxury items, by taking out these outlaws we'll get prestige, the same as when we take down the Black Heart. I'm not sure how much, but I'm hoping it's enough to be able to recruit one more. On my way back to the smash wagon, fatigue starts to kick in, strange mutations end, then I realise the outlaws are down south around my fuel outpost. So I immediately make my way back there as Sag Miller has the war fighting shooting speciality, making it easier for her to deal with the hostiles than our newbie Than. So I pop one of the espresso shots we found and head off to investigate. They're set up in the Tartan Mart across the road, and to start with I try softening them up with firecrackers to draw in the undead. However, they're all heavily armed, so the Zeds don't really get a look at. So when in doubt, it's better to use a blunt object to brute force the situation, rather than a precision scalpel to do the smart thing. I'm the blunt object. No smart play here, just spray and pay until they don't get up anymore, or we run out of bullets. Luckily, my sidearm is more than equipped to deal with the remaining bastards, gaining 200 prestige in the process. Assuming the Black Heart will also give me the same reward, I'll come up around 400 prestige short. But I know outlaws passing through is a pretty common curveball, so with a few more we should get there. It'll certainly save me from playing Daybreak for another 17 hours. I take the opportunity to loot all of the dead, making sure to collect all of their meat sacks. I'm not saying we're definitely going to turn to cannibalism, but I just want to keep the option on the table. Waste not, want not, especially when society has crumbled. As night slowly draws in, we finish off our looting. We get more Ransackers making an appearance, not to be confused with the outlaws we just dealt with. Sadly, we won't be getting prestige when the time comes to eliminate these fuckers. Ignoring them, it's time for Than to make his debut so Zach Miller can rest and recuperate. As his shooting skill isn't quite maxed out, I take the opportunity to grind out the remaining star within the safety of our landmine protected outpost until it's ready for specialization. Now we'll be able to fight ferals without the risk of missing a headshot as long as we have the stamina to use. That's when Karma decides to reward us for our cheesy tactics.
Oh, for Christ's sake. This is the most dangerous area known to man, by the way.
With the second appearance of Fueling the Plague, it's taken over too much of the map. We've got to deal with it now because it's too risky for exploding Zeds to be allowed to continue unchecked. So I take our less valuable car to drive to the Enclave to tell us which heart is causing the problem, and surprisingly the engine doesn't bring a massive horde down on us. I actually managed to speak to the Enclave this time and even paid the 100 influence to enlist him as a follower. The heart causing the problem is in the Tartan Mart we parked next to, so I make a start in thinning the Z silently with a crossbow. How the mighty has fallen. I also brought scent block with me, but it turns out it really wasn't necessary, as I complete the first phase simple enough and drop a firebomb. Then while the heart is phasing, I help out my new compatriot to deal with a crackhead, although my actions result in her getting slightly singed in the process. Somehow while all that chaos ensues, I take the opportunity to run away and regain the stealthy upper hand. She on the other hand is not doing too good. As a horde flanks around the side of the building, I use the crossbow to eliminate them, and judging by my character's excitement, I'm guessing that did some decent damage. In fact, I have no reason to enter the building again as another horde enters, and I fire a single crossbow bolt that gets the job done, resistant to fire my arse. I head inside and collect the medical supplies from the heart as the fireside campers are requesting them. So far they're a friendly enclave, but I know by completing this quest they'll become allied, meaning I can recruit them for free. Even better, I have a mod installed that means the enclave won't disband and I'll be able to recruit as many as I'd like. Unfortunately, the stealthy approach doesn't work out that well, so when in doubt, run like the devil's chasing you.
Much appreciated.
Right? Maybe we should reevaluate this relationship.
No! I'm here! No! You dickheads! Dickheads! I'm right here! I'm right here! Honest to God, I have just... I have just... You... You were lucky I'm slow on resources, because I would put a 50 cal round in every single one of your faces.
With that immeasurable disappointment, I head to my ammo outpost that's just around the corner and use the ever so reliable incendiary landmines to keep me safe while I load up with enough supplies to make it back to our vehicle. That was the plan at least. However, as you can see, the plan goes disastrously as the Blackheart zombies are completely immune to fire.
Oh my god! Oh my god! We got landmines active!
I've never seen this before, and it's fair to say it caught me off guard.
Talk to Emma! Fuck Emma right now, boys!
To lose them, I headbutt my way through a window and slip out the back door, which is unusual for me as I've been doing plenty of Kegel exercises. I finally manage to speak to Emma, who's a survivor in need, and agree to take her back to her community. A risk because she's set up in a very dangerous part of town. But right now I do anything to allow me to recruit more survivors. Unfortunately, her home has become a level 2 infestation, featuring 2 ferals and a juggernaut. So after she dies almost immediately, I use a scent block and leg it into the night, with one destination in mind: the Black Heart. I managed to complete the 600 meter journey to the Enclave that can discover its weakness, although my scent block has run out.
See? Magnets! I told you! They fucking exist! And they're here to kill me!
After they deal with the problem I started, I realise I forgot to bring the 5 black samples with me. So I'm back on the hunt, which goes well as these skittish little twats move more than a Tourette's patient going through meth withdrawal. Then once again, after I have to loudly deal with a feral, shit once again gets serious and I have to retreat my stamina deficient arse back to the Bunsen burners. But that does lead to a pretty epic trick shot.
Did you see that shit? We just got 3 in 1, baby.
And to prove it wasn't a fluke,
We just got a 2 in 1. Are you kidding me? Chat, I might be the greatest gamer to ever game. I might be, you know.
but if you disagree, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I'll tell you in 69 different ways how you're completely wrong. Arvin tells us the heart's weakness is explosive, so I pop a second scent block and get to work, even if it's time for bed. You can probably guess exactly how this goes. I drop a pipe bomb I found in the Bunsen burner's base, only taking minimal shrapnel damage in the process. Then after slapping this strange sack of meat for a ridiculous amount of time, which results in my infection, it becomes quite clear I've got to come back better prepared, and with no more plague cure, it's certainly not worth the risk to continue the fight. Sadly, I can only get halfway as the scent block wears off. Then as a feral joins the fun, with no stamina I'm forced to climb to safety. Then as a second crackhead joins the chase, I think we need to take a measure of where we're at. We have no cure and no stamina items. I do have a scent block left over, but at this distance the ferals will see right through it. This is going to require an insane play to get out of this alive.
Oh, fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Like, how is there so many? Oh no.
Yeah, I'd be speechless as well if I was you. Fucking knobhead. So we're back to a solo survivor run. Sag Miller loads up with the few explosives we have remaining, then realises the fireside campers need some ammo supplies. While this won't get them to allied, it will get them back to friendly, just one step away from the elusive allied status we're craving for easy recruitment. We give them the supplies, then set off to collect Than's belongings from his final resting place. We get there without too much drama, and you'll be glad to know I handled the situation calmly and professionally.
Fuck off, I'm getting f***ed up by my own people. Oh, f*** off. Oh, no. Go away. Go away. Honestly, just f*** off. F***'s sake. I mean, I'm completely wasting my time here. No. Try and pick up the bolts, you bastard. Stop it. I'm trying to climb, you f***ing idiot. Honest to shitting thing.
Calm, cool and professional. My new middle name. At least by checking the map I can see we've separated the horde from our former teammate. Then with a quick dart through the tartan mart and slipping through the window we break lines of sight, which allows me to put Than to rest peacefully. All of that just so I can get a hold of an extra 2 bottles of scent block. And I've got to use one of those to complete the treacherous journey back to the Black Heart. And with it still active I can complete the first phase with the supply of soda can bombs I brought with me. For the second phase I slap it once with Than's heavy weapon, then drop a frag, surprisingly completing the phase. 2 down, this is going amazingly. Although the next 2 pipe bombs I drop seem to bounce off thin air.
That bounced off a fucking zombie. Oh, and again.
With 2 wasted, I've got to start being more clinical with my explosives. I drop another 3 pipe bombs, which stuns a feral, so I take the opportunity to execute. My final pipe bomb completes the 3rd phase, but these bastards have 5 phases, and I'm completely out of explosives. So I go back to trying to brute force this bitch, with 57 seconds of constant heavy swinging, but it doesn't even flinch. Thankfully, I'm nothing if not a complete professional.
No! Stop picking up samples and stab the in the head!
After another 6 minutes of mindlessly running around, slapping the heart, then running around, then killing a feral, then killing another feral, then getting slightly angry.
Back off!
I do actually complete the 4th phase.
Oh no, no. We're done.
I'd miscounted at the time and thought that would be the final phase. It obviously wasn't. But in fighting for this long, I've completely depleted my supplies. With 12 crossbow bolts and a single cure remaining, even my scent block was starting to run out. But they say night is darkest just before the dawn, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The fireside campers now want a portable generator, and I know for certain I have one in my storage locker. If I can only just get there, they'll become allied and I can finally recruit people to solidify our position and give Sag Miller a bloody good rest. On my way to my ammo outpost to collect the generator, a Juggernaut spots me, and as we have landmines still active, he's easily dealt with, ending the gargantua mutation I'm yet to mention. But I'm more interested in what he drops. A Kodiak XL shotgun,
which is a 30-round shotgun.
I'm sure we'll be able to put that to great use. We grab the Jenny as well as a cup of Columbia's finest, and with that gifted to the fireside campers, they become allied in our fight to take on the Blood Plague. And as they are now free to recruit, I bring all but 2 into the gang. Please welcome Kayla with the 5th skill of hygiene to keep everybody less infected. There's Sturgeon, a fisherman granting us 2 food a day. There's Bradley, the exuberant heavy hitter with room to learn. There's Slingshot, a man who knows his way around a needle, giving the community plus 10 health. Angler, our 2nd fisherman. And finally Ken, relatable and loves to fiddle with his nuts. Together they make up the Dhraigdi, and together they will end the Black Heart. You see, we must take out the Black Heart before leaving the session, otherwise the damage will reset.
Now, the only problem is... that crash has reset all the phases of the Plague Heart.
All that progress for nothing. 5 scent blocks, 6 pipe bombs, 3 soda can bombs, 3 plague cures, 1 life lost. All for a crash to put us right back where we started. It's clear we need to train up this ragtag team before we can continue to conquer Drucker, especially that Blackheart. Now we have enough manpower, I want to move to a base across town. There's just one problem, I need to increase my influence in the region. Luckily, where there's a will, there's a way. And Ken can set off with his back pocket stuffed with a ton of expensive but otherwise useless shite. Like, why the hell do I need a white noise machine?
It increases morale in the community and happier people are more productive.
Shut the fuck up with your woke nonsense. People are more productive with fear. Fear that the undead will consume their flesh. Fear that no more food shall be grown. Fear that if you aren't productive, the Thryg thee will eviscerate your entire family. I feel I went a bit off tangent there, but even so, we get the influence we need by selling our shite to the last 2 remaining members of the Fireside Campers. It's cool that they're still allied after I've pinched 90% of their team. Next, we're gonna need a card to complete the journey, but first we're gonna have to get out of the Blackheart zone as fuel will drop quicker than the worldwide opinion of America. Luckily, it's just a 500-meter journey to the Miagro we left at the Tartan Mart. Although on the way, I do stop by the truck depot to collect some fuel for the trip ahead. With that, the car can get refueled, and we can set our sights on the night's family drive-in, enjoying the warm breeze of the Drucker County morning. On the way past, I realise my fuel outpost has been infested, so decide to weaponise that thing my mama gave me. The first of 2 screamers can be taken care of by sniping from the bus. However, the second is hiding behind a door, and the carpenters in this universe seriously over-engineered a simple door panel. There's no need for them all to be bloody bulletproof. Anyway, with the infestation cleared, we can hobble back to our car and complete our journey to our new home. A quick search reveals no squatters, so we can start moving in, although I probably should have taken care of that horde and juggernaut creeping around my rear entrance. Ah, fuck it, I'm sure it'll be fine. For now, I focus on getting our new home up and running, starting with fixing up the drive-in theatre. With this, we'll be able to watch training videos and max out our members without having to put them at risk. With our remaining labour available, I build an infirmary and a workshop, and while we wait for the construction to complete, I realise my medical outpost has become infested with 2 ferals and a juggernaut, but maybe I can take it out easily by abandoning the outpost.
Okay, so it just turns into a regular infestation. Yeah, that might not have been smart.
Still, I need to get rid of it, as my plan is to use the bounty broker to unlock every kick-ass weapon, and hopefully that will assist us on the long trek to 100 days in Lethal. We take over a slingshot to arms up appropriately, but before we leave, as the drive-in theatre has been fixed, we start watching training videos to increase our skills. You can get the same effect from building a level 3 lounge, but this way I don't need a gazillion building materials, nor do I need a sheriff leader type. It'll take time and patience, but within a few days we'll have everybody's skills maxed out.
So my plan is, if I turn that ammo slot into an outpost, like I said, then it should stretch and kill the infestation if I get them outside. And because there's 2 ferals and a juggernaut, they'll drop useful items, in theory.
Well, a plan is a lot like removing a lady's bra in a moment of passion. It's only as good as your ability to pull it off. So let's get smashing. Metaphorically speaking, of course. We arrive, eliminate a Klingerong, then realise some silly bastard has been locking doors behind me.
Oh, for crying out loud, I was just in there. Who locked the door? Which one of you silly bastards?
And to make things worse, I'm starting to draw the attention of the infestation. I need to get the undead out, secure the area, and drop landmines before we get fucked up by a feral juggernaut combination. Unfortunately, at least one of the ferals has been alerted to my presence. And while one is pretty simple to take care of, those loud gunshots is only going to draw the second. But at least all the undead are going to be drawn outside the gun shop. Unfortunately, the second crackhead isn't as easily dealt with. Is it the aging fingers slowing down my progress? No, of course not. It's obviously lag's fault. In a single player session. It might be a shite excuse, right, but I'm sticking to it. In the end, I swapped to my shotgun, which is much better suited for dealing with the beast. With that, I can claim the outpost, and after scrapping some weapons, I can set landmines to keep us safe as we start the next stage of our plan, bounty hunting. But before we get to that, we've got another emotional reading to get through.
Dear Santa, Daddy says that you might not have time for our house again this year, but I've been very good, and it's just one thing I was hoping to get. It's a dream date crystal doll with extra curls, just like mine. So please, could you bring me one? I'm asking early so you have lots of time to find one. Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. Sorry, Lucy, love. Santa's dead.
Let me know in the comments section, what zombie type do you think Santa would become? My money's on a juggernaut. Anyway, back to the bounty broker. And thanks to a mod I've got installed, I get access to all the potential bounties to choose from. My first 3 bounties are 3 plague Zeds with fire, 7 freaks with vehicles, and 20 Zeds killed with blades, to unlock the anniversary cake oven, the Trumbull 4x4, and the ancestral tall war. I decide to focus my attention on freaks with vehicles, quickly backing over several screamers with my arse. Using my rear end means we won't spontaneously combust and I won't need to spend a shit ton on toolkits. There was also a couple of bloaters I could have mowed down, but as I don't get off on fat dudes filling my lungs with gunk, I figure it's best to move on. Although I did recently find out that my streams are being shared in gay bear Facebook groups. So hello to all the gay bears out there, how you doing? Does that mean I'm a twink? What a weird way to find out. Anyway, armed with a sword, I carve up 8 of the 20 needed, then go for a wander to finish off the final 12. Admittedly, this would have been much easier if I was willing to use stamina items, but seeing as we don't have many, I thought it would be best to save them for the playcards. But using patience and perseverance, 2 things I'm sure you'll agree I excel at, we get the job done, taking off our first bounty. That gets replaced with 2 screamers with heavy weapons to unlock the industrial wrench, but as it's only 2, they can be easily dealt with.
No! Get off me, you sack of shit!
Okay, maybe not so easily when your guy has the stamina of a 40-a-day boomer with emphysema. Either way, we get the second bounty ticked off, and as night draws in, we swap to Sag Miller, whose next bounty is to take down 2 playcarts with assault weapons. Luckily, only the final blow needs to be from an assault weapon for it to be counted, so we can still get the first 2 phases sorted with a heavy weapon to save on our limited ammo supply. But before we can get started, a feral's presence means we can get the 4 freak with vehicles ticked off. I can then park the car out the front and head inside, quickly completing the first 2 phases with a combination of heavy hits and firebombs, which just so happens to tick off another bounty. From there we can claim victory from the roof of the car, taking our first of 2. With all the chaos, I've been neglecting my base build, so make sure to upgrade the workshop before taking out another few screamers with my car, netting us the Trumbull 4x4, which gets delivered to base. Those bounties get replaced with 1 armoured Zed with pistols and 2 ferals with revolvers to get the F45 Tactical and the Safari Razorback respectively. To get them sorted, I set my sights on an awoken playcart to the south, which should be interesting with a level 3 infestation next door. At least there will be plenty of ferals about to introduce to my revolver. Although it's the armoured Zed with a pistol which is going to be a problem, as they can be quite unpredictable where they spawn. Using the same tactic as previous, I park outside the front window, although this time I eliminate the undead inside stealthily before taking the first phase out with the industrial wrench. And unfortunately, that's where everything goes wrong. Once it stopped phasing, I head back inside, but I get bit and trapped in a horde, so I drop a firebomb to clear them, which immediately clears the playcard. Shit. To take my mind off that unimaginable failure, I head to the infestation next door, which luckily didn't become a problem during the playcard's assault. Both ferals go down without incident, which at least gets us a new revolver, and once I loot what I can from the playcard, I once again clear out an infestation from my fuel outpost, before deciding now would be a good time to recollect our smash wagon. I decide to look for some armoured Zeds near the military base in the southeast. Unfortunately, I don't find any, but any excuse to climb a tall ass ladder, baby. I do, however, find a playcard, so maybe now would be a great time to try again for that assault weapon bounty. The first phase can get handled easily enough with the industrial wrench. Then to save on my stamina, I climb a shipping container to catch my breath.
Yo, douchebags!
Yeah, oh, douchefucks, come over here, man.
With them away from the heart, I can run back in, dodging through the crowds to complete the second phase, but that leaves plenty of room for innuendos.
Okay, there's a feral coming right up my bum. I can hear it.
Although that feral never makes an appearance, so either I'm imagining its war cry or it's a Freudian slip. Either way, with 2 phases down, I can then whip out the AK, ending the heart once and for all, while also completing yet another bounty. In fact, over the next few days, we knuckle down and start knocking down bounties like we have a vendetta against coconut flavoured chocolate. And to be fair, what a rank chocolate bounty is. We finally get an armoured Zed with a pistol to unlock the F45 Tactical. We unlock the heirloom Kanda by giving medical supplies to the wandering campers to make them friendly. Then kill 7 Zeds in close combat to unlock the antique German trench tool. Although because of all of our time has been been spent bounty hunting, we have been seriously neglecting our community needs.
Oh shit, we're now starving.
So desperate times require desperate measures. It's time to cook up all those meat sacks we've been butchering from hostiles.
Now, you might be like, where the hell did you get these meats from, Jay? You don't want to know.
Luckily, cannibalism is only a temporary measure while I start the construction of 2 hydroponics back at base. And look, in hindsight, yes, I probably should have enacted rationing. But look, you gotta get the protein supply from somewhere. Sadly, karma has a way of slapping me in the dick. Banger bloody nomics. Probably what I deserve for chowing down on my fellow man. But in my defense, if you're dead, do you really need that spleen? For my next few bounties, I need to kill 65 Plague Zeds with revolvers while crouched, and kill a Juggernaut with a heavy weapon. Although the revolver bounty is going to be long term as I simply don't have enough ammo. I make the wandering campers allied by giving them plague samples and use our new friendship to get cheap building materials and fuel supplies. We get another entry into the no context archives.
Just very aware of the bloaters coming up my bum. Not like that, chat. Oh my god, don't clip that.
We collect another Cleo drop, and with a note being present, we have to do another dramatic reading.
Order, confirmation, contact with Cleo, inactive, Echo, Lab, Fright, Protocol, activated. 1 Echo Lab MP5, 1 Advanced Break, 1 Echo Lab Melee Weapon, Sun Dry Ammunition, 1 Shark Hoodie Blue.
Honestly, if I don't get an Academy Award for this series, it's corruption at the highest order. If anyone needs to hire a Dalek, just let me know. To run down the clock of Bangernomics, I figure now is a good time to take down a Juggernaut with a heavy weapon. Luckily, this one is floating around our back entrance, so it's time to get blasting. Similarly to the play cards, in order for the kill to count as a heavy weapon, we only need the final blow to be the heavy weapon, so we can do whatever is needed to get the fat fuck to his knees. And being this close to base, I was hoping my community would be assisting from afar.
This is why I brought mollies.
Although luckily for me, the Juggernaut just stands there staring at a wall while he takes more back shots than a Kardashian trying to get a new reality show commissioned. That drops him to his knees and we can get the final blow. Easy win. Next, I want to eliminate the Ransackers to stop them from preventing our daily income of meds and fuel. They have a population of 8, but they could have triple that and he still wouldn't stop Zag Miller. She eliminates the first from distance, for that causes all of his mates to come charge me down. And it's at this point I'm starting to wonder if I brought the right amount of ammo. I managed to down 2 before the horde surround me, but they'll be back on their feet in no time. Hiding behind a car, I eviscerate the first to get me, with 16 rounds remaining. Swap into my sidearm, I can at least keep the fight going, although the smaller round does significantly less damage. Well, let's see how they handle that pipe bomb. Unfortunately, during the encounter, the community starts to starve once again. Luckily, I have a fresh load of meat prepared with bullets just waiting to be butchered. Using another car as cover, I manage to eliminate a second. I then throw myself over a fence to absorb the hostile press. That gives me the space to mag dub one down. Sadly, the mag runs dry before I can finish his friend. Back over the fence, I swap weapons and eliminate another, before the final hostile falls seconds later.
As you already witnessed, we are starving. So there is one thing that we need to do. We need to eat them. Alright chat, there we go, I said it.
So we spend several minutes rummaging through the dead's pockets and carving them up like a kebab on a Friday night. I also realised that fight was right next to a play card, so using a heavy weapon I took off a corpse, we get the thing dead. Although on the way back I get distracted in the menus, turning former hostiles into soup, and I get stuck between a rock and a hard place.
You have got to be taking the fucking piss right now. How did I end up in this position?
And with Bangernomics still active, the only way I'm getting out of this is with the radio stuck command. Praise be to whichever dev implemented that. It saved my life more times than anything else. But before I can even get back to base...
New curveballs, Ransackers. Oh, you have got to be... I've just got rid of that curveball. Oh no! Fucking glitch. Are you fucking taking the piss? All because of...
Luckily, the explosion doesn't damage any of our goods, so I can even still transfer them straight into storage. I wonder if that's likely to change in State of Decay 3. I then realise my ammo outpost has been overrun, and with another infestation next door, I activate landmines in the medical outpost I have opposite. That clears the area nicely for us. I then take over as Bradley, who has room to learn a new skill, and I immediately fill that gap in his knowledge with a gardening textbook I had in the supply locker. That knowledge of gardening will then allow me to boost the yields in both of our hydroponics, granting us 50% more food per facility.
And I'm sure that'll increase everybody's morale in terms of they don't have to feast on anybody's fibula.
With everything starting to turn around for the gang, Zag Miller takes her rightful place as leader. Once we have enough materials, we'll be building a trade depot. Bradley then adds another 20 or so to our Plague Z bounty hunter tally. before adding an additional 2 bounties, one being 125 headshots on non-freaks to unlock the spyglass rifle, and kill 7 hordes to unlock the Megalodon muscle car. I chose these bounties as I figured they would come along passively while I tended to our other community needs. For example, I pay a visit to Alexis Carter to sell her things I won't be using, while also purchasing a compost bin to boost our food yields even further. I drop it off at that outpost and immediately get it installed, then a survivor in need spawns right next to us in our safe space.
Took you long enough.
What you mean? I literally... you stupid son of a bitch, it took me... And also, why are you facing the wall? I'm literally right by your Chuck.
He got separated from his group and wants a lift. I agreed to help him, but little did he know he'll never get there. I purchased building materials and a toolkit from him before deciding to use him as a meat shield as we take on the Ransackers. But let's be honest, it really should be the leader that does all the murdering. But first she's got to upgrade her wardrobe so the hostiles can't devastate her morale with trash talk. Then finally, as the sun starts to rise on day 8, as we hurtle breakless off a cliff top, Bangonomics finally comes to an end. To deal with the Ransackers, I lead them out of their base into the open before parking my car on the opposite side of the base for cover. Then with a stimulant active, I can simply spray and pay my way through the first 2 to reach me. While reloading, I take cover behind the car, then blast the next to push on me. Although as I make my way through the 4th hostile, I've got to dodge out as a Ferrer has become a problem. Thank God for our walk-in meat shield, otherwise the hostiles would be fully focusing their attack on me. I finish off the crackhead further into the hills, and that just means the hostiles have chased me, leaving them without cover. So I can eliminate number 4 and 5 pretty simply. So with just 1 hostile remaining, I intend on leaving it to be jug food. That is until the jug loses interest in the free meal and moves all of its attention onto me. So I have to kill yet another man with my bare hands. That is if you count bashing right trigger as using your bare hands, of course. Seeing as our food situation has massively improved, I decide we don't need to carve up the dead for supper, and its decision had nothing to do with the fact that Juggernaut was right there sniffing about. I also left our walk-in meat shield behind, but it's alright, I'm sure you'll catch up. My next goal is to pay a visit to a blood plague victim who wants to trade. And if that isn't the most perfect trading partner for a corrupt capitalist pig like ourselves, I don't know what is. I don't need to worry that they'll ask for a refund, and they certainly won't be trying to sue me for fraudulent practices.
These first aids kit can't help my blood plague. Want it to end, but I don't have the strength. Whether or not it's the cure or a mercy kill, I really don't care at this point.
Well, I'm always happy to help out another survivor any way I can.
I'm sorry. I wish it didn't have to be like this.
Providing I can make a quick profit, of course. And to be fair, 1 bullet for free medikits is pretty good business if you ask me.
Glad he didn't bother checking my pockets where there's 5 of them.
But it's not just the medikits, I also get to enjoy a steak manwich and a new shotgun. This really might be the greatest trade deal in human history. While in the area, I decide to take down a play cart in the petrol station, and as you'd expect, it goes by without incident. Also, all of our training video watch-alongs are starting to pay dividends, as we're slowly starting to upgrade the skills of our less useful characters. I then scrap a load of our weapons, which we'll never use, because scraps is kinda like a secret extra currency in State of Decay. Of course, you have your influence, but that maxes out at 9,999. But what has no limits is scraps. And as a single scrap sells for 1 influence, you can use that as extra currency to trade with. And as we just so happen to have a mysterious wandering trader on the map, now's the time to make the most of it. Even if it's on the border of the Black Heart's territory. Giving Sagmira a rest, we take over a slingshot to make the potentially deadly trade journey. Thankfully, the trader was smart enough to set up outside of the Black Heart's radius, even if we're very much still in plague territory. I sell off my scraps, backpacks, and even a textbook I have no intention of using. That puts me around the 2,000 influence mark, and I spend half of that immediately on a Timberwolf 50 cal sniper, as it'll be very good for base defense. But I'd also really like that BML 40 grenade launcher. I'll get saving and maybe we'll come back for it later. At least the mysterious traders are on the map for several hours as opposed to the 30 minutes for regular traders. Next, I decide to pay a visit to the Scarlet Survivors as they keep asking for my assistance. Although on the way I stop and finish off our final horde needed for the bounty, but it's fair to say I get a little confused when I get there.
Oh shit! Oh, are they? Oh, they're not shooting at me.
They might might not be shooting at me, but they do have 3 dead guys on the floor. Apparently the dead guys have nothing to do with them, they just want a sanitizing machine so they can complete a blood transfusion for their mate who's been shot. I agreed to help and ignore the dead dudes, provided they buy all the swag I looted from the dead guys. Although while rummaging through the dead guys' pockets I find a strange note. Through your sacrifice I will gain my salvation. Obviously the work of a madman. But what if that madman was an absolute beast? We could certainly use someone like that. So I park up on the edge of the Blackheart's territory in the south and head in on foot to investigate his last known location. It's only a 400-meter trek through the Blackheart's territory with an overlapping strange mutations curveball, but I'll drain stamina if I get too close and drop lures when they die. Luckily I managed to complete the journey without attracting any attention. I tell him he's an impressive specimen and he should join our crew, and although he does seem appreciative, he just sort of runs off into the sunset.
No, get back here! Get back here, you sack of shit!
Well, that was a waste of time. Back to finding a sanitizing machine for the Scarlet survivors. Although on the way I once again need to clear out my infested fuel outpost so I can collect some fuel, as my smash wagon is thirstier than a mid-40s divorcee. With the freaks taken care of, I use a fuel bomb to sort out the rest. Nah, life's not that simple. Instead, I stand on the roof of our Miagra and pop headshots to run up our bounty tally a bit. But when a triple pack hears the commotion, I obviously take the easy way out. With my car refueled, I can complete the journey to find a sanitizing machine and even manage to deliver it back to the Scarlet survivors with no issues. Completing that mission granted me 200 influence, and with all the grave robbing we did earlier, we've now got enough influence for that grenade launcher. Although as it's a big investment, I decide to think about it for a while I continue our bounty hunt. I collect the bounty for killing the hordes, replacing it with 13 plague zombie kills with blades to unlock the dead man's cutlass. And as there's a plague cart nearby, I immediately get to work. That completes the bounty, although recklessly awakens a plague cart. Next I focus on 15 Z kills with blunt weapons, not so easy when they stink and drain your stamina. But hey, it barely slowed us down. For that we get a new shovel, then once I've blasted 2 bloaters with shotguns we get a Sea Dog blunderbuss. Then craft 15 mollies to unlock a close combat knife. Next to unlock is a non-compliant SKS, which I'll get for killing a plague cart with a heavy weapon. Luckily there's a plague cart I've just woken up only around the corner. And as we're on a roll, provided you ignore my health, I then kill a bloater while crouched to win a G45. I then put our bounty hunt on a temporary hiatus to go and purchase that grenade launcher, but not before telling the team to start the construction of a trade depot back at base. I was thinking the grenade launcher was going to be useful for helping out with the Black Heart, seeing as its weakness is explosives. We get back to the site of the mysterious trader, however she's more interested in shooting the undead than engaging in capitalism. Commie bastard. Sadly, because of the strange mutations curveball, zombies drain your stamina if you get too close.
Oh, will you piss off?
Not only that, but when they die they drop lures, which then attracts even more.
Yes, I'm aware we got zombies all around. Fucking shoot them, you silly bitch!
But the time I'd forgotten about the lures, so it's fair to say I don't handle it very well.
I'm about to lose my actual shit here. Will you all just die? Fucking stop touching me, you smelly little shit!
Thankfully I do manage to pin her down, although not for long.
Honest stuff. Stop it! I'm gonna lose my shit in a minute, love. I swear to God! Oh God! Will this woman actually do something fucking useful? I swear to God! Stop! Fucking... Just... Stop it! You! For the love of God! Stay fucking still! I swear to God, if you move a fucking inch, right, I'm gonna buy this grenade launcher and then I'm gonna use it on you.
Thankfully with that purchase, it's time to get out of here. We get back to our outpost, only slightly engulfed in flames. Taken over as Sturgeon, one of our 2 fisherwomen. She picks up where our bounty hunting friend left off by headshotting the remaining non-freak zombies. That unlocks the spyglass rifle, giving me a second 50 cal to use for base defense. That gets replaced with 12 screamers with fire and 50 zombies with heavy weapons. That'll unlock the wyvern and the guandao. Why does it always sound like I'm committing a hate crime when I mispronounce something? Sadly, we have to shelve our bounty hunt once again as our siege sites are starting to get out of control. And this once again definitely feels like a leader job. So taking over as Sag Miller, we Dukes of Hazzard our way over there, and once we park the car a safe distance away, it's time to get to work. 3 screamers, 2 ferals, 1 juggernaut, and a bloody nasty infection if we fuck this up. I start by lobbing a molly at the door so any of the undead swarming out will at least start their own demise. Then after a narrow escape from the big boy's clutches, he apparently dies, although not in the way I'd prefer. I made sure to hop the fence so I could separate myself from the hordes, and that way I'd only have to deal with 1 feral at a time, although he bitches it and decides to retreat. Have you ever seen a feral run away scared before? Well, that's because you've never witnessed a feral hunter in action. His mate tries to back him up, but Shotty Blasks takes him out of the picture before I can eliminate the original around the corner. Next up is the screamers, and luckily you can always find at least one chilling with the bloater. What an explosive friendship. The final 2 are also dealt with using mollies as I need them for the bounty hunt, and that eliminates the siege site for good. Up the road to the next siege site I find a wandering horde just outside, but that means we get another screamer with fire before eliminating the level 1 siege site with a molly, which should have taken our tally up to 5, but I guess that didn't count for whatever reason. Luckily in all the chaos nobody follows me, so I can regain stealth before taking on our final siege site, another double feral juggernaut special. With a couple of perfectly timed molly throws we can eliminate it, but I'm starting to learn that bloater explosions don't count as fire for some reason. I then take out the 2 ferals to cash in on their drops, before taking down the play cart across the road in the public library. With that we head back home to unload the supplies we've collected so far, before heading out into the surrounding area to make a start on the 50 Zeds with heavy weapons. Honestly, I just really appreciate this tank hammer. And who would have guessed using a shotgun to deal with a crackhead would be a fantastic way of attracting even more of the undead to my theatre of hard knocks.
And what's great about the heavy weapons is that it's multiple at the same time. Bad news. Fueling the plague for the 3rd time!
That's the 3rd time in less than 10 days we've had this curveball, but this time it's different from the rest. But we'll get to that in a little bit. For now I ignore it and focus on the bounty hunts, dropping mollies on screamers that appear, and swing my hammer more than 4 on meth. It's the 50 with heavy weapons that comes first, followed pretty quickly by the flaming screamers. With that, it's time to get back to paying attention to the community. Our medical supplies are on the low side, thankfully there's a medicine trader on the map. But before we get to them, I use our newly finished trade depot to call in an ammo trader. I use that to purchase a handgun ammo press so we can craft some cheap ammo to be used in a revolver to complete our 3rd bounty. I also purchase some ammo sacks to make sure we're well supplied for once the mod is installed to the workshop. While it's being installed, I take our new vehicle for a spin, collect our 2 completed bounties, and purchase in 5 sacks of medical supplies from the trader. But unfortunately, that's when we're hit with the missing a few bolts curveball. That means once the ammo press has been installed, it no longer makes fiscal sense to craft the ammo as it's way too expensive. Back at base, Sturgeon finishes off our dealings with the ammo trader, purchasing a rifle ammo press as well as several sacks of ammo. Sadly, we don't have the resources to sell to make our influence back, so instead we head out to pick up some building materials to get rid of the missing bolts curveball. And I know what you're thinking, you just built a trade depot, why the hell did you not just call in a building materials trader? Sadly, stop number 1 is another siege site forming. Luckily, we can at least eliminate the feral with no problems. A well-positioned molly can take out the 2 screamers, making it a relatively safe assault. We find fuel and building supplies before a Red Talon agent spawns in the same building, asking for our assistance with playcarts. And while I have literally no intention on fighting playcarts right now, it certainly can't hurt to have a Red Talon operator watching our back while we loot. Sadly, there is an infestation next to the warehouse I'm aiming to loot, but I'm sure it'll be fine. That's why we brought the Red Talon. Although it's unfortunately not long before we get overwhelmed and I'm forced to retreat. So I lead them a safe distance from the warehouse to catch my breath on top of a car and charge back in to collect our 2nd sack of materials. Thinking now is almost certainly the right time to retreat, especially as an infesting horde has just caught up to upgrade the infestation next door.
I just hope there's no bloaters right by here, because if there is, we might be screwed. Oh look, there's an armored Zed.
And as we're already 3/4 of our way to another bounty, it makes sense to hit it with the car while we're here, right?
Hopefully I'm aiming correctly. Oh shit, blower, 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 blower. Shit! No! Move! Move! No! Oh, we are so fucked. We are so fucked. No, come on! No! You
R.I.P. Sturgeon, we weren't sure if the fishy smell was from your hobby or poor hygiene, but those 2 food supplies a day you were supplying will most definitely be missed.
And that's how quick it can change, chat. That's how quick lethal can change.
It's obviously our leader's duty to collect our car and any of Fish Fingers' belongings. Firstly, she eliminates the infestation, then uses the smash wagon to smash her way through the horde that caused Sturgeon so many problems. This is of course fantastic for our vehicle's longevity. Oh, piss off wandering campers, can you not see this is not the right time? Thankfully, the explosion doesn't drag any more undead to the area, and we were keeping a toolkit in the back for this kind of eventuality. We collect our comrades' belongings before making our way back to base to unload. But seeing as we still need one more, it's not long before we have to get back to searching. And this time I decide to take the Megalodon for a spin. It's the apocalypse. If you can't enjoy a pink muscle car when nobody's watching, when the bloody hell can you? We collect the building materials, which thankfully puts an end to this annoying curveball. But now it's time to get serious. Not only do we need to deal with the Black Heart, as this side of the map is getting a bit sparse, but we also have Fueling the Plague overlapping. But do you notice what this Fueling the Plague is different to all the rest? This is not causing any other plague hearts to be resistant to fire and explosives. That means all of these plague hearts, including the Black Heart, can be eliminated so much easier. So it's time for Sagmilla to prove her leadership, make a massive dent in the Blood Plague, and finish the Black Heart once and for all. On the way, I accidentally take out an armored Z, triggering a bounty. Very lucky that wasn't an exploding Z, to be honest with you. I choose to park up outside the gun store, then run in and start battering the heart with one particular goal in mind. Ignite the Z so they can take down the heart. Easy shit. The next heart is in a house just up the road, and by holding my nerve I can pinch a headshot that causes an explosion, ending the heart almost immediately, even if I am slightly singed in the process. 2 down, 2 to go until we can move into the Black Heart's territory. I take the opportunity to loot the heart for flammables and stimulants, before repeating the strat in the warehouse down the road. This has to be the easiest way to take down plague hearts. The 4th heart is in the police station, and even though its position in a storage cupboard makes it more difficult, it's not long before we can take another easy victory. What can I say? You've got to make hay while the sun shines. With a massive dent put into plague territory, it's time for the big battle, the Black Heart. It previously beat me down, but we won't let that happen again. A 1,000-meter jog to get to the location, through the most peril of zones. Some Zeds will explode when killed, while others are completely immune to fire, and we have no scent block to bail us out this time. This is either gonna go tragically or amazingly. Get your guesses into the comment section, and let's do this. On the way, I pay a visit to the outbreak survivors who can tell me which heart is causing the Fueling the Plague. Let's be honest, I don't want to accidentally take it out prematurely, but when checking what they have for sale, I notice a salvage furnace. Yes, it's very heavy, but a salvage furnace is going to be massively important going forward if I want to be the richest community at the end of the apocalypse. I also grab myself a coffee, as apparently a couple of hours of hard work makes Sagmilla a little bit sleepy, but I decide against taking it until the fatigue situation gets much worse. I get to the Black Heart's location and decide to assess the situation from a shipping container in the medical tent outside. A crackhead followed me to my safe space, so I appropriately deal with the prick before dropping the salvage furnace to make us lighter. Then it's time to roll into action as we take the heart on directly. I've got to be patient to get enough exploding Zeds into the building, but once it's a bursting point, I drop a fuel bomb and roll out, awaiting victory. Sadly, that victory doesn't come. I'm assuming the Black Heart Zeds, which are immune to fire, are preventing the fire from spreading effectively, so exploding Zeds don't take damage and detonate. So it looks like I'm gonna have to do something a bit more drastic. And when that still doesn't work, I've got to do something even more drastic.
Fuck. Wait. Did it do it? We done it? I think we got 300 prestige for that. Oh, sick, man.
Not only does that put us well and truly on the way to another Red Talon agent, but we have finally dealt with the Black Heart that has caused us so many issues. But we are certainly not out of the danger zone just yet. Worried about the journey back, I finally take the coffee and set my sights on the next nearest plague heart. My goal is to be able to make an outpost to drop off the loot from the Black Heart and also restock our supplies for a safe journey back to our car. But in order to make an outpost here, I need to kill one more plague heart. But with With only 2 painkillers and 1 stimulant remaining, we're gonna have to be extremely careful. Sadly, I get spotted almost immediately and have to resort to heavy hits, but it's not long before my stamina drops and I've gotta retreat. I try angling the exploding Zeds into the correct position so we can have an easier time taking it down, but that proves to be difficult when your stamina is lower than a billionaire's submarine. When a feral arrives, I decide now is the ideal time to finally take the stimulant, and with it dealt with, I'm actually able to complete the first phase the old-fashioned way. Another feral then gets to meet its maker, before another decides to battle me on the roof of a bus. Alright game, time to calm down now, is it? But my final stimulant has now run out, so when I try to rush the heart, my stamina drops. Luckily I can dodge out just as an explodey boy takes my place next to the heart. With the plague heart dead, I have another epic rooftop battle with a feral. You'll only need one guess to figure out who won that one. I stuff my pockets with all the loot I can before heading back to the medical tent. I have to abandon an infested outpost to claim it, but it'll all be worth it. I even set landmines to make us that extra bit safer. I also spend the extra 800 influence to upgrade the outpost to level 2, as that way we'll be able to drop off the several rucksacks we're about to gather. After unloading everything from my pockets, we collect the salvage furnace I dropped earlier, then collect the final items left over from the previous time we were here. Next, we get to loot the Black Heart, and although we do get extra loot, this one was a bit underwhelming. With Sagmiller well and truly shattered, I decided it would be smart to swap out the Slingshot, who's well over halfway to becoming a hero. He's got to complete the 1,000 meter journey on foot to where we last left our vehicle, but not only can he do it with ease, he can also take down the heart, causing the fuel in the plague on his way through. What an absolute legend. Long live our Sowing King. What a championship performance by the man. I have faith this man will slowly climb the ranks of the Draigri, potentially even becoming Sagmiller's right-hand man. He collects the smash wagon and makes it back with no issues. Our training video watch-alongs continue to deliver its dividends, as almost everybody has begun to upgrade their skills. In fact, I suspect before we leave Drucker for good, everybody will be maxed out and ready to conquer the 100 days in Lethal Zone. With only 6 hearts left in Drucker on the morning of day 11, the community is enthusiastic about the future. And so it should be. The base is rocking and rolling, hydroponics for food so we don't have to eat our enemies, trade depot to increase our influence in the region, infirmary for recovery, workshop for fixing, exploding and burning, and the drive-in theatre to make sure everyone is maxing out their skills appropriately. Although at the moment we only have 3 outpost slots, so my next project will be collecting building materials to upgrade our command centre. The second thing I'm going to be looking out for is a network signal antenna so we can get an extra 2 outpost slots, but they can only be found from a very specific network wandering trader. So failing that, a signal antenna will do the job temporarily, giving us an additional 1 outpost slot. But all of that means absolutely nothing if I don't recruit a computers expert to get the command centre upgraded. Luckily, where there's a will, there's a way. After taking down the Black Heart, I have 2,589 prestige, so we need less than 200 to be able to afford an additional red talon. And if we recruit a hacker, we get the knowledge of computers while also getting another additional outpost slot. And just when you need it, Outlaws passing through. One of the few curveballs that will actually reward you with prestige for overcoming it. All we gotta do is find and kill the crisper draws and we're set to go. What kind of terrible name is that, by the way? Doesn't exactly sound too hostile to me. But first, as I've already completed one of my 2 bounties, I decide to drive to my local plague territory, climb an abandoned car and start popping headshots with my 22 caliber revolver. Perfectly timing the final Z with my final round. Then we need a Juggernaut with a rifle, especially difficult when we have a Gargantuan mutation active. Luckily I've never met a problem that can't be solved with my arse. Obviously I still need to be careful as we don't want to accidentally finish him off with my arse. We just want to drop him to his knees. Way too many innuendos, my brain's gonna fucking explode. But this is a tactic I've now mastered, there's no way I can mess it up.
Son of a bitch!
At least we get the 150 prestige as a consolation prize. And he did apparently have a World War II style machine gun tucked away in his prison pocket, so can't complain. With that we head to our double outpost safe zone as Red Talon tell us exactly where the outlaws are hiding. We collect our 2 completed bounties and replace them with 4 materials to be collected and 4 gas cans to be used, before making our way to the crisper draws. I park up nearby but crucially leave myself with plenty of cover, which means when I approach I'm completely undetected. Nobody even knows I exist. That is with the exception of this woman, who can apparently see around corners. Well, she won't be seeing much of anything with 9556 rounds buried into her corpse. That does mean all 6 of her remaining friends know my exact location and take chase. Like, seriously, have you ever seen an entire enclave just get up off their fat asses and take off on a revenge mission?
I killed one of them, and now I run away like a coward.
I can honestly say I've never seen hostiles come this far away from their base before. I managed to down the first to catch me, but I can't finish the job as a zombie tries to consume my flesh. I then hide behind a car to regain stamina and manage to finish off a second, before continuing my retreat to put as many obstacles between us as possible. A third falls into my trap, but I can't quite finish the job as a stray bullet takes my health to dangerous levels. And I've already used up all of my painkillers to get this far. How the hell are they still chasing me? Luckily my outpost is nearby and I managed to heal, but still they managed to chase me down. Look boys, 4-on-1 might look great on your internet search history, but I'm not looking to get penetrated by anything right now. And that's when they managed to pull off a shot that would make Lee Harvey Oswald proud.
Oh god, fucking hell.
How the bloody hell did they pull that off? He would have had to have bent around a corner.
Come on, son. Get up, get up, get up, get up. I got an idea. Is it dirty? Yes. Is it cheating?
If you can't tell, that hesitation means it's unethical at best. Either way, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comment section. In my defense, there is no cheating in survival. You do what you've got to do in order to stay breathing. And that's exactly what I do. By crouch camping at the ladder, there's only one way up, so we can take them out without putting ourselves at risk.
Oh my god. Nope, nope, they can't hit me. They can't hit me from there. Oh god, they're flanking. They're not flanking. Words are escaping me.
To be fair, they chose their opportunity to pounce pretty well. They just couldn't match Angler's aura. The final hostile then makes a move, but you know how this goes by now. Sweet dreams, Outlaws, thanks for the prestige. With that, it's time for Ken to take over. Certainly our most relatable teammate. And after the deaths of the Gargantuan Juggernaut and the Outlaws, we now have enough prestige to call in a Red Talon.
Rendezvous with Verdun from Red Talon. Welcome him to the community. Oh wait, don't... Oh, piss off! Piss the fuck off! Are you kidding me right now?
Unfortunately not, sweetheart. And this time is even worse as the heart's miasma is toxic, meaning it'll slowly remove our health when we're inside its radius. At least this variant won't increase its territory. For now, we'll be able to ignore it given its location, which will give us time to make sure we're properly prepared. Part of that preparation is recruiting a new Red Talon. Unfortunately for us, Verdun isn't the hacker we're looking for, but by exiting to the main menu and jumping back in, we can reset the spawn and eventually find a character with the required skill. Please meet Alfonso Crawford, or Crawfish for short. This chubby funster likes to occasionally waste food. Luckily, we have an abundance of diverse dishes at home. Mexican, Chinese, Indian, we've butchered them all. But not English. You only have to look at the average Englishman to know he tastes like cigarette ash and bad decisions. Now we have the knowledge of computers and an additional outpost slot. Perfect. With him on his way back to base, I take the opportunity to loot the immediate area, collecting builder materials, food, meds, and a couple of toolkits. Up the road slightly is a Bronto gas station where I can find some fuel and an additional sack of building supplies. We drop the supplies at base, which completes a bounty, which unlocks a restored Echo S4 SMG. That's when I realise there's an Echo Lab trader on the map, and they have a chance of selling one thing that will be very useful as we make a move to survive in 100 days. It's also a good opportunity to earn some extra influence from the redundant shite we've been collecting. So with our trunk and pocket stuffed tighter than a Juggernaut's wedding dress, we make our way to visit Lisa. Unfortunately for us, it seems that silly bitch couldn't fit an advanced biochemistry station in her back pocket. Motherfucker. Still, at least I get to make some serious wonga. And we get our hands on a repeating crossbow, bloater grenades and scent block. Next I realise the noisy neighbours need plague samples, so I head over there immediately as I'm still looking for one more member to add to the team, and making them friendly is one step away from allied. Unfortunately, it doesn't go my way.
Now we're friends, right? I got 100 influence for that. Good. Now we're up to 400. Vicky, I just risked my life to give you zombie flesh. You get some from fucking outside, son. You know what I mean? We're not friends? Why are we not friends, Vicky? Vicky, I'm devastated. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vicky. I thought we could have been BFFs.
Moving on, I claim the bootleg fuel operation next door as an outpost and start looting the area for all of its natural resources. Well, I say natural as scraps and dinosaur gunk, that is. What can I say? It's the natural loot goblin in me. I see a container, I've got to search it. That way I can hoard all the wealth like a real dragon. Or a Thraig, if you will. From here, we head slightly south to the military trauma tent where I find ammo and meds. Then even further south around the airfield I find 2 sacks of building materials. Sadly that's still not enough to upgrade the command center. Literally only 2 materials short, for fuck's sake. And look, I know what you're thinking. You have a trade depot. Why not just call in a materials trader? We take over as Kayla, who's a hygiene specialist, giving us an extra 50 plague resistance to the entire community. Usually I wouldn't want to risk such a valuable member, but she has the potential to have an amazing hero bonus if we can increase her standing high enough. She starts off her reign scrapping a load of weapons we'll never use, which has been massively boosted by the fact the salvage furnace is now installed to the workshop. This is massively important as we can use scraps as a substitute for influence, so the more scraps we have, the richer we are. And the richer we are, the easier it is to control and brainwash the population. Kayla then checks out a mysterious broadcast coming from a cell tower in the north, and as we arrive, Cleo sends a supply drop around the corner. Before collecting it, she takes down a screamer while crouched with a crossbow, which completes a bounty unlocking the restored Echo S2 rifle. Originally I had planned on killing the screamer in the siege site next door, but as there was one outside I decided to ignore the siege site altogether, as farming sites is another good way to get prestige. Long story short, defending a siege gets you prestige. Before we collect the Cleo drop, I get into a rear-ended fight with a crackhead who repeatedly tries to rip me out to feast on my kidneys. And I'm ashamed to admit he slightly gets the better of my vehicle, so it's time to retreat.
Right, looks like we're leaving it home, chat. We're leaving it home.
And that retreat didn't go anywhere near as smooth as I'd have liked. Oh, and to make things worse, the feral has come back with a vengeance. Luckily, with the team watching my back from a defensive position, we can eliminate the feral before Kayla becomes a trending hashtag. She collects the Cleo drop, then swaps her crossbow for a rifle, as there's once again another big boy floating around our rear entrance. The plan is simple: lead him to the base so the community can passively shoot at the big brute, then we can deliver the final blow with our rifle, finally completing this bounty. Juggernauts always attract shitty little minions to help soften up its meal, and usually I'd get around this with fire. Sadly, however, it appears I've forgotten about the thick-skinned curveball, which makes the zombies resistant to fire.
But that actually allows the fire to spread a bit better.
Obviously that is only if you have the stamina to outrun the fiery bastards. Even the Juggernaut becomes engulfed in flames, even if it'll do no damage. After putting all of my sidearm ammo into the beast, I swap to my rifle and actually get him to stumble. But am I actually going to be able to finish the job with less than 2 mag loads remaining? Predictably, all that loud gunfire has attracted the locals, so it's time to get burning again. Probably wasn't the smartest idea, as we then lead them directly into our base.
Okay, yeah, I've just led a horde of flaming Zeds into base. Not my smartest play, not gonna lie to you, chat.
With the community finally coming to my aid, I quickly grab some ammo from my pistol from the supply locker. You wouldn't imagine 10 rounds would make a difference, but surprisingly that's enough to get him to stumble again, then he drops to his knees and we can finish the brute off, finally completing the bounty.
Got it! Yeah, baby!
All that effort means we can find out what Kayla's hero bonus would be. Sadly, it's nothing to write home about, but it's not time to give Kayla a rest, as we have to immediately defend against a siege. A siege with a feral and a juggernaut. Not another one. I managed to quickly swap out my loadout, then defend against the first wave of a screamer, bloater and 5 Zeds. Easy stuff.
Oh, you magnetized little prick!
I take out the 3 chasing me, followed by the screamer, then ignite the horde of resistant to fire Zeds. Proper smart move that. Mollies take out 2 bloaters, and I pull off a long-range shot on a screamer. The next wave was supposed to contain the juggernaut, but all that come at me was a solo feral, which I handle with precision. I then toss a thermite grenade to ignite the next wave. Yes, they are still fire resistant, but suddenly the goal is shifted to just clearing out the remaining Zeds. I guess the juggernaut seen what I did to his cousin and decided he didn't want no smoke. I take out 2 bloaters hanging around a wave to the north. I can then retreat back to behind the safety of my chain link gate and await for the hordes to burn or burst in. Well, that's when the siege completes. I gain 300 prestige, even if there's armoured Zeds still floating around our front entrance.
Well, the juggernaut disappeared somehow. I'm okay with that.
I then use the trade depot to call in an ammo trader, even though I still need building materials to upgrade the command center. I immediately make back the 125 influence it cost to call her by selling her scraps and shite. I then purchase all of her ammo supplies before making back 500 of my influence by selling even more scraps. Then it's time for our new hacker to take center stage. And Crawfish isn't the kind of hacker that sits behind a desk stuffing Cheetos down his throat like they have the cure to diabetes, while smashing away at a keyboard saying, "I'm in." No, Crawfish likes to get his hands dirty, so his first mission is a plague art in a medical centre to the north.
Oh crap, I didn't bring a heavy weapon. It'd be a waste of fuel now, wouldn't it?
Well, we wouldn't want to waste precious dinosaur gunk on needless trips, so let's get beaten like 14-year-old Jay that just discovered his penis for the first time. What can I say? I was a late bloomer. When my stamina drops, it's time to get hot, as the only stamina relief I brought was snacks. But hey, at least we completed the first phase. With everything still burning, I drop a frag to get what I thought was a double phase, then this happened.
Oh shit!
I do inevitably have to deal with a crackhead, but once it's done I can loot the heart and the building. I drop the supplies off at base, finally find some building materials, collect my 3 completed bounties, take down an infestation in my outpost, and finally upgrade the command centre, before getting caught short in a smokestorm curveball.
At least it's daytime. In daytime I can still fairly see, as long as I'm not driving.
To wait out this pain in my arse, I start taking off more bounties, such as shotgun and ferals, and killing Zeds with my pistol. I also loot a restaurant I had previously missed. Then as night draws in, I try to loot the hospital on the edge of town. But that's not as easy as you'd expect, seeing as we have an elevated senses curveball active, meaning Zeds have better eyesight and hearing. This causes some pretty big problems, especially as I didn't bring anything other than snacks to refill my stamina. Thankfully, as I kill off the last of the Zeds, Smokestorm comes to an end. Although it does get immediately replaced with radio silence. And to find out which cell tower is causing the problem, I've got to speak to Bradley. In the meantime, did you know the Sassa Regional Hospital is the only guaranteed spot to collect a plague cure in the entire game? Yes, you can find them really on traders and the landmark spot in Trumbull, as well as a few missions, but this is the only guaranteed spot for looting. After Crawfish's long nighttime battle, we swap out to our leader, Sag Miller. She meets up with a mysterious stranger by the name of Oscar. Oscar wants to loot a nearby van that was abandoned due to a local juggernaut and is looking for some backup to loot it. I agree to help, as I secretly like to help out the less fortunate. I'm kinda like Mr. Beast like that, except I've never hired a known paedophile. With the juggernaut nowhere to be seen, I can loot the van for some Zed-Eye, Zedrenaline, and a shiny new crossbow, which Oscar thinks he can call dibs on.
We only got this gear because I showed up. I think I should keep it.
That's horse shit and you know it.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do about it, Oscar? Come back here and say it to my face. Slag.
With hindsight, that seems a bit harsh. To be honest, I really don't know about the sexual promiscuousness of Oscar. I then head back to base to speak to Bradley, who tells me the location of the dodgy cell tower. Luckily, it's not in plague territory, so it's pretty simple to capture, just a screamer and a feral to deal with, which also completes a bounty for us. With the tower secure, we get rid of radio silence, then Sag Miller sets her sights on a plague art to the south of base. And as you'd expect, at this point, it goes down without incident. With that heart dead, I get a fuel sack, which I can give to the noisy neighbours, which turns them allied, meaning I can recruit someone for free. I decide to recruit Jason, a fairly uninteresting man, but his blank slot means I can shape him to my community's needs. We give him a lift home, then I realise he's a massive Debbie Downer, and to be honest, I probably should have guessed that by just looking at his haircut. Luckily, his destiny wasn't one of longevity, as our base is then attacked by not one, but 2 gargantuan juggernauts that just so happen to be wandering past. More heavily armed than an American 4th grader, I deal with the first solo, which ends the curveball, giving me 150 prestige. Then the entire team deal with the second. But truthfully, the only reason we could take it down as easily as we did was because Jason was taking the full brunt of its attack. So while I am credited with the final kill, it's Jason who deserves all the praise.
No! You son, Jason! Oh man, I've only just recruited him. But hey, I got a couple of good, decent guns actually.
But in misery, we often find salvation, as I then get exactly what I was hoping for, a wandering network barter agent. Different from Alexis Carter from Trumbull Valley, this trader is guaranteed to have a network signal antenna to give us the 2 additional outpost slots we're looking for. Unfortunately, there's one thing I've forgotten to mention.
Oh, fuck.
I guess Oscar has been chatting shit about the van incident, as vicious rumours means everything is much more expensive. That means the signal antenna is over twice the price, and even though I do have the influence, I just can't justify spending that much. So regrettably, I leave it behind, setting my sights on a different goal. Instead, I head to the site of our plague cart massacre from the last time we had fuel in the plague active. And with the extra slot from the upgraded command centre, I turn the Matilda Police Department into an upgraded landmine protected outpost. Then spend the rest of the night looting every container in the vicinity, even delivering another dramatic reading in the process.
November tasks. A. Finish editing FL turnover. B. Prep next FL SA. B. New lines for sickness. What kind of lines do they reckon, you know what I mean? C. Listen to Oct VO for changes. C. Add line names for starter doc. C.
populate XN dock with tags.
Not a bloody clue, boys. Not a bloody clue.
What can I say? The third is never as good as the original. I guess that means the Academy Award no longer has my name on it. Unfortunately, we do have to cut our looting spree short as we have another siege to defend against. A little bit of advice: anytime you have hordes raining down at your base, make sure you're packing mollies, as every horde usually has a bloater, which is basically a walk-in claymore. Similarly to anyone raising their right arm to salute a fascist regime, they're just asking to have a Molotov thrown at them. To finish off the siege as I'm out of mollies, I decide to rear-end all the freaks in the area, until the rear end gets a nasty bit of inflammation. While it's not ideal to have to use another toolkit, the vehicle's explosion does finish off the siege, even if it doesn't finish off the Juggernaut. But it's not too long before that big brute goes down as well. Unfortunately, we then end up with an under-the-weather curveball, which makes our aim shite and our drug use less effective. Well, luckily, Kayla used to be BFFs with a drug dealer and knows exactly where to acquire some medical supplies to put an end to this. Even if to avoid the Blackheart's fuel draining miasma, she has to get a bit creative with her choice of route.
We're off-roading now, boys. Oh, that's some serious off-roading.
Luckily for us, across the road from the fast food restaurant that was used as a drop point, there was also an urgent care that we can collect an extra sack of meds from, as well as a sanitizing machine. Can anyone remember when the enclave next door sent us all the way across the map to collect one of those? And the lazy pricks didn't think to have a look in the doctor's office 2 doors down? What a bunch of bellends. We find the prescription drugs in the manager's back office of the Swine and Bovine. Then Kayla decides to take down the plague cart in the area, which is located in a little house slightly to the north. She can complete the first phase just as a feral arrives, so that means it's time for everything to get hot. After heading outside, I try to do the door trick to stun the feral at the neighbour's house, but unfortunately that doesn't work out. So it looks like we're doing this the old-fashioned way, by putting more lead into the beast than a boomer's plumbing. But with no further issues, we can take down the plague cart and even collect a third sack of medical supplies for our efforts. Sadly though, there is another curveball that's giving us issues now. But before we get to that, I drop off the medical supplies at an outpost to get rid of under the weather. Typically we now need to do exactly the same thing, but we're building materials to make our base much more efficient again. For example, if I want to turn my additional medical supplies into bulk plague cure, it's going to cost me 12 meds instead of the usual 8. This needs to go in order to maximize our profits. Surprisingly, the spare parts trader I visit doesn't sell any, but I will be taking that signal antenna, thank you very much. Now here's the problem. Most of the map has already been heavily looted, especially for building materials. But there is one spot that I know for certain has some. That plague cart has a sack, as well as the abandoned truck bed next door. This time it's Ken who takes off on the dangerous mission. And I know what you're thinking. Jay, you have the trade depot. Why not just call in a building materials trader to get rid of the curveball? So first I stop by our police station and loot a nearby water storage tank, which happens to have one of the 3 materials we need. We then get to the site of the half-finished houses on the morning of day 15, with next to nothing left in the tank. Shit, how the hell am I going to transport all these building materials all the way across the map? Well, it's a good thing Melia's rotting corpse is still here with a can of diesel just sitting in her back pocket.
Oh, Melia comes in clutch right at the end.
Thank fuck past me kept my characters loaded heavy. We then get materials from the abandoned truck bed, materials from the dead plague cart, and even more materials from the building the heart was located in. And thanks to the signal antenna we purchased earlier being installed to the command center, we can immediately claim an outpost to drop off everything other than the sacks that we've looted. To drop off the building materials, we head back to the police station, which has been upgraded to level 2. After we've dropped off the 3 sacks, that puts an end to the curveball. But with fatigue setting in, it's time for Sag Miller to take center stage, with just 2 plague carts standing between us and victory. Obviously one of those just so happens to be a black heart, although I think it makes more sense to leave that till the end. For now, the heart slightly north in the small bungalow is my target, just praying the level 3 infestation next door doesn't get in the way. We arrive and park up a safe distance away, but unfortunately we have one of the worst variations of thick-skinned imaginable. Resistant to headshots, resistant to melee, and resistant to fire. But how the fuck am I supposed to kill the undead? Wish upon a shooting star? With no Zeds in the area at the time of entry, it's pretty simple to claim the first phase of the plague cart, but then I make a mistake by dropping a molly on fire-resistant Zeds. To make matters worse, I also get bit, taking even more damage, because we're on bloody fire. And that's when the penny drops.
I didn't bring any painkillers. I didn't bring any painkillers.
So not only are all the Zeds resistant to pretty much anything I can do, I've lost 2/3 of my health almost immediately and I'm not able to heal. Fuck. To make things worse, we get another gargantuan juggernaut mutation, meaning that infestation next door might be about to get even spicier. That gargantuan mutation must be the most common curveball I've had so far. The prestige from dealing with those fat fucks are keeping my kids fed and clothed. Well, technically I don't have kids, but that's besides the point. With the second phase taken care of, a feral chases me down, but it doesn't matter as a flaming Zed runs into the heart, ending the threat for good. I take down the feral a safe distance from the chaos, then loop back around to collect the heart's loot. Never have I been more grateful to see a bottle of painkillers. After that, it's time to discover the weakness of the Black Heart, so I pay a visit to the scientists. However, they're currently dealing with a pretty large horde, as well as a level 2 infestation next door. That means ferals and a gargantua juggernaut. Mix that with a thick-skinned curveball, and I don't think I can keep them alive long enough to find out what the weakness to the Black Heart is. Instead, I head to the location of one of our outposts in Santa Maya. Once I've fully healed, I start loading up for the fight against the Black Heart. I might not know its weakness yet, but smoke bombs, bloater grenades, and energy drinks are certainly gonna come in handy. That's when I make a crucial mistake. Yes, I completed my final bounty, but before I get the chance to drop a second load of loot into my trunk, a feral arrives to feast upon my liver. And typically, it's never gonna be just one plague feral.
Oh god. Woo, baby.
A molly can slow them down, as who likes to be engulfed in flames? Them stop, dropping and rolling gives me a chance to take them down from distance.
Oh. Well, that could have got interesting.
So let's review our final loadout going into the fight with the Black Heart. Admittedly, I don't know its weakness yet, but you can't go wrong with what we've brought along. High capacity Stormbreaker for the ferals, with a silenced revolver as backup. 5 cures, as you can never be too safe. Mollies are self-explanatory. Pipe bombs for that extra kick. The only stimulant I own to keep my lungs working. Energy drinks as a backup. And snacks for the backup of the backup. Weak painkillers to slowly regain my health as fast as the Black Heart's toxic miasma can drain it. And scent block to keep me close to invisible from the undead. In the trunk, I have bloater grenades and flares to light them, as well as smoke bombs if I need to be shielded. Backup painkillers for if the fight goes on for too long, and you can't have too much stamina relief. So can we do it? Smash the final heart in Drucker, or will we become simply another statistic? A life claimed too soon by the Blood Plague's fiercest ally. We get back to the scientists, and luckily the horde they were fighting is no longer present. But I still need to eliminate the level 2 infestation next door, although for some reason there's only screamers present. I have no idea why, but you shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I then have to defend the scientists against a different horde, which thankfully doesn't contain any freaks that I'd need to deal with loudly. This turns out to be a great way to collect the Black Heart samples we need to discover the weakness, as I once again forgot to bring my load with me. With 5 samples collected, I give them to the scientists, and they tell me the weakness is explosives. Well, luckily I have just the thing. Even though the heart will drain my fuel, I decide the territory is small enough that I'll be able to drive to my destination, as I want an easy access to refill my supplies when I inevitably run dry. It's also cool to realise I didn't lose any health from the toxic miasma when in the vehicle. Now, however, it's dropping quicker than Tesla's stock price. Let's destroy this fucker.
Scent blocked. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's grab these and them, and now let's toss a flare, and fingers crossed. Right, let's just hold out, and shit. There we go. Right, that's 2 phases I think we've done. Oh shit. Right. I think we've done, was that 2 or 3 phases, chat? Weirdly, I should have brought more explosives. Great. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Feral. Oh, fuck off. Come on, feral scum. Right, let's take these. We might have to do a single retreat, just because I'm low on health right now. And explosives. Oh, shit! Yeah, baby! Holy shit!
This time the Blackheart's loot is much better than the previous, and ideally I turn this place into an outpost to drop off as much of that loot as possible. There's just one problem, a Juggernaut sniffing around my back entrance. A Juggernaut that can apparently see through scent block.
Oh my god. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, we get prestige for taking down these shit, so we might as well profit from the fight. There's just one problem, a triple pack of crackhead shows up just as my scent block wears out.
Oh god. You know what? Scent block again. Yeah, it's wasteful.
Well, if now's not the time to use an extra bottle of scent block, there's simply no right time ever.
Oh shit. Oh god.
Using my revolver, I managed to eliminate the first and remove the armor of the second. That's when I discover I've used my last round at the worst possible moment.
Oh shit.
The Juggernaut charges as I'm immobilized in a feral's jaw.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Luckily, Sagmira is simply built different. She avoids another deadly charge before whipping out the Stormbreaker to eliminate the second feral. She then manages to stun the third, but can't finish the job as the Juggernaut wants to take us to Pound Town. But after another roly-poly to get us distance...
Oh, baby!
Now we need to focus our gunfire on the big boy. He stumbles, but it's not enough to put him down for good. And with my ammo supply running painfully low and the fight leading the Juggernaut away, I can slip back to the value wagon the Blackheart resided in, losing the trail of the Juggernaut in the process. And after abandoning our infested corner pharmacy, I turn the shop into an outpost which allows me to drop off all the incredible loot we've gathered. But don't think I'm letting that Juggernaut off with a warning. Creating an outpost meant I could collect something a little bit extra from our supply locker. The 12-round grenade launcher we purchased from the mysterious trader. 4 rounds is enough to send him to his knees and we can finish off the brute, collecting another 150 prestige in the process. As the legends that took down the blood plague in Drucker County, the next few days fly by in an instant. First, we save the denizens from a terrifying freak attack, which allows me to recruit a medicine man by the name of Bones to the community. Before the fall, he was an assistant principal who led a quiet life, who self-taught himself medicine by chopping up cadavers. I'm sure you'll fit right in. With our extensive training practice, his knowledge of medicine gets upgraded to pathology. Next, Crawfish eliminates 6 ransacking bastards in less than 6 seconds. Then as the head honchos, we move into the biggest base in Drucker, the strip mall. Slowly the base starts to take shape over the next few days. Meanwhile, Crawfish's lust for blood grows as he continues to eliminate any hostile that visits Drucker. This time it was outlaws passing through, and we get rewarded with prestige for our efforts. We make an ongoing effort, going from building to building, looting container after container after container. Eventually the entirety of Drucker County has been looted dry, and with all the resources in our possession, we are the most powerful, we are the most influential. Because of this, we are often the first port of call when conflict arises. Dodgy bastards who had murdered someone's friend, we are the ones to deal with it, even if the rewards were non-existent.
Wait, what? No, get back here. Babs, we just spilled blood together. No!
We meet up with a second Echo Labs trader and this time manage to get a hold of the advanced biochem station. We initiate a trade triangle between 3 other enclaves so capitalism shall live on. Sadly, no amount of capitalism in the world shall save us from another gargantuan Juggernaut when he comes knocking at our base. Even with the entire team loaded up to their eyeballs, we couldn't save everybody. As Hagmiller survives hit after hit, it's our new pathologist Bones that contracts blood plague. And even though I'm able to check him into the infirmary to keep him alive, once I've delivered the final blow to the Juggernaut, I realise he wasn't the only one who contracted blood plague. How the fuck can this happen twice in one video? RIP Slingshot, you surprised us all with how well a sewing expert could do at the end of the world. Putting that heartbreaking loss behind us, we have capitalism to fall back on. We meet up with 3 other surviving enclaves, and even though we have to fight off some dodgy fuckers looking to rob us, nothing was gonna stand in our way of becoming the most powerful bastards in Drucker. With them eliminated, we can restart our trade summit, and even though it was a massive success, truthfully there was nothing left in Drucker. We had scavenged everything there possibly could be, so in the end it was time to leave the place we had called home for 18 days. I guess you could say the state of Drucker had well and truly decayed. Trumbull Valley would be our next step, setting up base in the old Red Talon Daybreak fob. There was just one problem. Trumbull Valley had been overrun with 100 plague hearts.